Alright, give me a second. Boop. Over to there. So, this is the world building segment of this stream, and in fact, one thing that I should do in the run-up to that is change the title to reflect the fact that we are no longer playing U4. We're now on just chatting, and this is building a new world. Building. Done. Okay, so this is a map of the world so far. This may look a little bit different than the last time you saw it. That is because we actually did another kind of minor stream on Thursday? Was it Friday? It might have been Friday. No, it was Thursday, after the Something Rotten in Kislev stream, because it ended a little bit early, and I was just in the mood to do some of this. I was feeling creative, I'm still feeling creative. So that is where we are now. I'm going to turn the music down a tiny bit. Okay. And basically what we have shown is everything that we have worked on so far. So you can see the general outline of the land masses, the crux, the center of this whole scenario is this. It is this crater, which is not actually volcanoes. I'm just using that as the outline. That is basically where a god was murdered by the other gods. Or executed, depending on your perspective. And that basically set off a chain reaction which destroyed one of the major nations in the area, the Genies. And they eventually evolved over centuries. We haven't actually established a timeline for this. We will need to do that at some point. Where they basically became the gnomes, the elves, the humans, the halflings. Yeah, those four. We have the dwarves down here in the south. They came from somewhere. We haven't really determined where. We've got the general location of various of the races. There are probably humans here as well. I think that the humans will have seeded themselves pretty aggressively around this internal area, because I do think that the humans will be the most numerous. I suspect that the northern realms over here, we haven't really decided what we're doing with them yet. This large forest is the Feywild. We have Dragonborn, or rather the remnants of a Dragonborn invasion having come in from the east over here. Centaurs there and possibly down there as well. We have a couple of trolls. Don't know what the origin of the trolls are. We haven't really talked about that. We just know that those are the troll marshes there as well. Elves, gnomes in the Shield Mountains. And then all of this area has also not yet been done. What do we mean by not done? Well, the terrain, as you can probably kind of tell, is a bit blotchy. It's just all kinds of randomness that the random gen put down. We have then been creating our own more consolidated territories, which looks a bit more like this, in order to prepare for general settlement. Did you read what you wrote in Discord some time back? The Dragonborn coming to reason to be made later because the dragon and the Ice Oasis. I don't really want to link them to the Ice Oasis. That's separate. The Dragonborn from the east and the Eastern Dragons are just going to be something else. Right. So yeah, that is where we are standing. Now we are using a tool called Worldographer to actually make this. And we're going to go ahead and open that now. And here it is. So this is the world as it is. And you can see that this really looks rather chaotic. So that's the type of thing that I want to fix. But I'm actually thinking that the area we want to fix is probably this and this peninsula down here. These are actually two of the most important regions, because I think they would be part of the area that would be heavily fought over. Because it's a relatively open area near the human homelands. And this might even be the human homeland. We haven't really determined that yet. And then, of course, we have the trolls up here. So if there are any other creatures that could have been related to the trolls, do let me know. I will admit I don't know a huge amount about trolls. I know that they have, like, regenerative properties, which I could definitely imagine would have been bestowed upon them by the magical cataclysm. The other thing which we did discuss during the Project Zomboid stream with Tintuna was basically which god it was that was actually murdered. We know it was Mordius, but we don't know what he was the god of. And Tuna actually had a really interesting idea where basically he was the god of the cosmos. The cosmos also being the source of magic makes a heck of a lot of sense. So the genies would have been very much looking to the skies, and I think also looking to the sky and maybe having more of an interest in the different elements would also reference why the genies are now found in the different elemental planes. Those planes, of course, remember, are the different planets. Planes in this are planets. So the fact that you find genies still on the elemental plane of fire, the elemental plane of water, that is a molten planet. That is a water world. That is where the genies actually managed to get to through teleportation or something like that, because super powerful magic rather than space travel. Or interdimensional teleportation. That's why you find the genies there. In D&D, trolls are a giant creature type. So maybe something to do with the dwarves and the giants. Because we did play a little bit like, what's the history here with the dragons and the giants? Because we were kind of saying, okay, there are three major races when the genies were around. Giants, dragons, genies. So if there's some kind of relation to the giants, that would actually make sense. And would also kind of explain why we have this rivalry between the trolls and the dwarves, still. Trolls are a giant creature type in the stat block. That just means they're a big creature, I think. Hang on, I have a monster manual. Where is it? There it is. Let's see if I can reach it. And then some stuff falls. Deal with that later. Okay, so troll. Troll. Troll-a-lol-a-lol-lol-lol-lol-lol-lol. Troll-a-lol-a-lol. Oh yeah, there are troglodytes too. And I could definitely see troglodytes and trolls being related. That's interesting. We might... I might need to put another mountain range in there. So trolls are large giant, you're right. Huh. I could actually kind of see trolls and troglodytes being the result of some kind of alchemical experiment as well. Definitely think they should be semi-aquatic in nature. I could see that too. Genies or djinn, same thing. Heavily mutated swamp giants. Yeah, mutated by the magics. They didn't develop the same resistance, they mutated instead. That could be where the dwarves and the trolls diverge. Although we did say that the dwarves are older. Well, no, they wouldn't be, because technically they'd still be around when the genies, or rather the giants would be around when the genies were. Unless the genies are just longer lived. Oh, one other thing I did want to try. Let's open up a new tab for this. Because I was just curious about it. So I want to go D&D, then Artflow. And this is a kind of an interesting program because it will generate different faces. Like the last one I did was the Angry Black Dragonborn. Unfortunately, this thing doesn't know how to do Dragonborn. But what I wanted to do was see if I could make a genie. So I wanted blue skin, elf ears, blue beard, Because my thinking is that the genies in this would be something between gnomes and elves. Gnomes are kind of known because they have really intricate beards. Elves are known that they don't have beards. So what if we have like a bearded elf? Interesting. So that might be kind of what the genies look like. Huh. Okay. Gives us a nice reference. Because they're definitely humanoid in how they look. They got the pointy ears, which both gnomes and elves have, but they're bearded. I'm thinking they'll probably be a bit bluer skinned, not blue-eyed, but blue-skinned. But yeah, something like that. Such blue eyes are a sign of much magic. I would say so. Like the genies... So one of the things I was thinking of is why the genies worship Mordius. Why is Mordius the god of the genies? And the reasoning here, remember that the god's powers and domain is determined by their worshippers. It's not that they have these powers and the worshippers are drawn to them. The worshippers create something. It's like the orcs believing something and then it happens. It's like that with the gods. And then that god will basically assume the powers that is granted to them by their followers. So a very magical race like the genies creating effectively a god of magic is Mordius. Yes, elementals are corrupted wild magic. Exactly. How does this interplanetary system work with Horizon Workers and Oath of the Watchers? They're usually depicted as organizations of interplanar border patrol, ice guarding plane portals, tracking dangerous creatures. Yeah, that would stay as is. I mean, the planes basically are just planets, so those portals are between planets. Think Stargate. That's what it is. There are Stargates all over the world, either permanent or impermanent, created by wizards. And that's planar travel. And yes, Genasi. Genasi is something I've been thinking about. Like, where do they fit into this? Anyway, so if we want to do this, I think the fact that this area is so mountainous kind of fits that this is where the giants would be. So this really is the giant territory. When the genies are there. And then I guess there's also going to be more giants up here, so we could have some other giant-related kin up far north of the Feywild. But here we can say, because a lot of the magic fell on the Feywild, it did not make it as far north as this. So this could be less magically manipulated giants. This could be the actual giants. The hill giants, the frost giants, that lot. Ogres, that type of thing, yeah. Alright, so we want to play with this. Now, this is definitely not jungle. I think that it would be relatively flat. Because in the north we do have a couple of the Ripple Mountains, but in the south we don't really have that. We have the remnants of the Shield Mountains down here. This would be kind of the foothills. And I'm pretty okay with how that looks. I mean, we may adjust some of this, because I don't think that bit was done. But that is basically a continuation of this line. It would be fairly wet. Hence the rain shadow, though again that would be kind of this area. So there'd probably be some fairly large rivers that drain through here, but I don't think they would make it all the way to this. So this is probably just temperate flat land. Fantasy France, yeah, that type of thing. I mean, this is also kind of Fantasy France, although it has a couple of raised areas. I think I might actually just get rid of. Well, no, it's nice to have a few mountains. But they need to make sense. Alright, well, the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to go terrain. We're going to go classic. We're going to go grassland. Grassland. And I'm going to choose the bucket. There is the bucket. There it is. And we're just going to go click, 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 click. Because I definitely don't want the desert in this area. That makes zero sense to me. And I don't think that this would be the most fertile. This bit might be. But this just allows me to clear a lot of this in a hurry. And we're also going to get rid of you. Going to get rid of you. 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 I mean, we can replace some of this with trees. That's not a problem. In fact, we probably will have a nice little wood here in the middle. Get rid of that. That's actually hills. And that kind of makes sense why the water didn't crash more through here. That bit I get. Right, I would say that gives us a pretty good starting point for how this region would kind of look. Let us see a bit more. Could be steppe Great Plains until it meets with the rocky equivalent. Also true. And then this area, I think, would be something similar. I want to wipe out a lot of the silly little water areas. I think I might actually just do that now. Oh yeah, that's looking a lot more distinct. What I was imagining for this southern peninsula. I mean, I can still make it wet with not moorlands, marshes and things. I just didn't want it to be completely spotted with lakes. And maybe a couple in the south, make that a bit of a swampier, less inhabitable area. So I'll leave that, because having these bays leading into something, maybe this mountain range exits down here. I do kind of feel like we need to do something a bit more interesting with this southern peninsula, though. Okay, that will do as a basis. We can really see that, like, these three areas are very similar in what they are. Except that I missed a bunch up here, apparently. So what was that? Forest. No, I like the fact that there are forests here. Southern Peninsula should be hilly like Greece. I would agree with that. Because I still kind of feel like I want this area to be where the hobgoblins eventually end up. Or here. So I guess before we really go much further, are there any other potentially fantasy playable races that we want to see here? Like, we've got orcs, we've got goblins, we've got... hobgoblins, humans, elves, dwarves, halflings, gnomes, dragonborn. Tieflings are a bit more difficult because I'm honestly not entirely sure what I want to do with them. Like devils and demons. I've always kind of shied away from those a little bit in my own games. Loxodon to be further south. Tiefling should be from another plane. I would agree with that, yeah. Let's get rid of these silly water bits. Maybe the mountains in the east curve and eventually reappear to cut through the peninsula diagonally. They would be coming along here. Possibly. So then this is quite high. This has basically just been eroded over time by the sea. Except, wouldn't make a huge amount of sense. I was thinking maybe we have some kind of micro-environment in here, which means incredibly rough seas, but part of the goal for this is we want to have a Byzantium-type city which cuts across this. And basically turns it into a canal, like Panama-type thing. Suez. Do love bird races like the Aarakocra. I don't know if they would fit into this continent. Maybe. Yeah, Aarakocra I feel like would be further north. I mean, it's actually a fairly good question. Why is Greece so hilly, mountainous? Mostly mountainous country in the Balkans and southeastern Europe, bordered by Albania, North Macedonia, Bulgaria, surrounded by the Aegean Sea and south by the Cretan and Libyan seas. Mountainous peninsula, mainland jutting out into the Mediterranean. Physical geography, blah blah blah. Total area, blah blah blah. 80% of Greece is mountainous. But why? I'm actually not against the idea that there's some smaller islands in here. Like the remnants of the chain of mountains if it did come through this. Isn't there a fault line that runs through Turkey? Or maybe. Asian fault line. Yeah, there is. Hellenic Trench. So if this is the fault line, have it maybe curve. No, I actually kind of like that this got inundated somehow. Minotaurs. I had actually considered Minotaurs, like the Centaurs as well. I don't want to be too close, like a Minotaur on a small island. Bit too close, but having Minotaurs just as a society, yes, I could see that in the same way that I could see Centaurs as a society. Satyrs would be Feywild. Imagine accidentally clicking in here and just like... Not doing that. Okay, so if we turn off the paint bucket and switch over to the mountain, I'm going to do a quick save as. We're going to make this Origin 6. Because we're about to pretty dramatically change things. So this would then mean that the mountains basically continue down into here. Probably put a little pass or something on there. And maybe have it splitting out a little. With what would effectively be couple of little islands out here where the mountains would have passed. And then the mountains would have come out over here. Landing, I would say, right there. And maybe splitting again. Actually, I quite like that being a bit of a hotspot. Maybe a bit like something like so. And then you have the trench here. So this would be, again, a little bit like the... I don't actually like it going so far out. I think it would need to go a bit more down. So let's turn you back into grassland, or probably forest, or maybe hills. Or just have it cracked like this. I actually quite like that there's numerous passes through it. That's kind of a cool feature. And it would kind of give a little bit of an idea of why this has become so fragmented. Could always go with the insert magical disaster happen background. Yeah, I don't want to do that too often though, otherwise we rely on it a bit too heavily. Alright, so I do want to have some fairly hilly... These would be Green Hill almost certainly. Islands out here. Let's make this one bigger one. And then I think I want to merge these two together. Make you a bit bigger, make you a bit bigger. Something like that. There's a reason this one's the biggest, because it's quite mountainous. No, the turtle's down here. I mean, we could definitely have more turtles around. Like, I'm not going to go, they're only here. Right, then we have probably Grazing Land. It's not the best territory on the sides. You're going to have a little Grazing Land right there. You're going to have them in the middle. It's a bit of an older area. I feel like the hills would be on this side. Because they'd be protected against storms and things. Which would be buffeting this side. And these are far too barren. Let's say that there's a couple of foresty bits. Except this one. This one can be mostly barren. There we go. That looks a bit more natural. And in fact, on this one, I'm just going to make this swampier. Marsh out there. A bit of marshland there. No, I don't like marsh on that one. Return to the grazing lands. Could dead islands be used for something corrupted? Yeah, absolutely. So for things like corrupted areas, I kind of feel like I want to do that as an emergent part of the narrative. Like, evil necromancer appears here, blows this area up, dead land. Like, remember, this is before we have the impact of people living there. With the exception of the halfling area, which we've kind of drawn out already. Just so I remember. Alright, let's go and play with this region a bit more. So, kind of similar to the dwarven area, there probably should be a bit of a rain shadow here. Probably just in, like, this area. But then it quickly gets wet. So I'm actually going to say that we're going to have dry hills, like, along the back line here. like so. Then we're going to have grazing land behind it. Let's have some more hills going down that way, sure. So there are almost certainly hills on this side too. Probably more of them. I think I might even make some of these mountains actually forested mountains. Do something like so. Then go with the forested hills. Like so. Too much. Let's make this... Oh, you know what? This can be grassland. In there. And then I wanted grazing land on this side because it's just not as fertile. Because there's a little bit of a rain shadow. And also where this passes, that's going to be like so. And then fading into woodland on the other side. And I think I might even make this bit in between heavy forest. Which would rather suggest that some of the mountains here should be... There's no heavily forested hills, unfortunately. Let's make those forested mountains. But I'm going to make this a double line because I want the inner line to be just regular mountains. Something like that. And then I think again this needs to be mixed in with... Whoops, that's the wrong type of mountain. These. So pretty heavily forested down there. And then probably just grassy hills for this bit. Maybe like shrubland up there. This I think also needs to be more foresty hill. Huzzah! Don't like that. That's better. For some reason there's some really high mountains into that little section here. Darth Lord Fishy, thank you very much for the 31-month resubscription. Very much appreciate that. Back from class to subscribe. Thank you for that. Do you need rivers? Yes, we'll be adding those after. What is this world for? Just fancy building one. And then I think that come in... Yeah, that's fine. And I actually quite like the mix of different... Well, no, we wanted some more hills in. I mean, it's already relatively hilly, but we want it to be more hilly, don't we? Like, I want this to be more fertile than this. See a fishy. And I definitely don't want all of this to be grassland. Like, a fair bit of this should probably be grazing land. Some of this might even want to be moors. Something like this. There we go. That looks a bit better. And then we'll turn this into grazing. Just because it's a bit stonier ground. It's not as fertile as some of the other bits, even if it is somewhat wet. And we're going to turn this into a swamp because it's very low lying. And we're going to make that more heavily forested out to here. Some real heavy forest in the middle. And then I think we're going to just do a little bit of grazing land here in the center. So this definitely is more of a Turkish southern Italian feel to it. I don't feel like it should be this heavily forested. I think this is too heavily forested. I think I'm going to make more of this into grazing land. And or hills. I think I might add a couple more hills coming through it. How far, like, how heavily forested is, like, Spain? And yeah, coastal flooding for sure. Like, I'm thinking this bit is probably pretty wet. So let's turn this into marsh. Actually, I like that a lot. And I think I'm going to turn this into marsh as well, rather than swamp. And we're going to go back to grazing. And now that I've kind of removed all of the forests, I kind of feel like I need to do more hills. Probably just grassy hills. We also have poor grassland we could use. I wouldn't say that this is necessarily poor. I mean, some parts of it, maybe like this bit would be. Actually, it probably is poor grassland, thinking about it. Maybe like dry shrubland up here instead of moors. Let's do that. We'll have a couple of little areas of shrubs. It's dry. Oh, that is shrubland. Ha! I meant the forest hilly shrubland. There we go, that's what that should be. And let's go back to hills, going for a large part of that, and then I think it basically turns into grassy hills for large areas. Let's have some hilly shrubs up here with some shrubland around there, which then becomes a bit of forest around the edge. And then a swamp in there. No, I feel like that would be heavier. We can turn that into forested hill. Something like that. Do you have any mountain chains with plateaus and mountain valleys? Yeah, we have a few, like this one does. This one does. And, in fact, it's one right there. Let's get rid of that lake. And this bit, I think we're actually going to make a bit more fertile. Because this has basically just been rinsed by the elements. While down here it's a bit more fertile because you have the soil coming off the mountains. There's more of them. So I'm actually going to say that this little section in here, it's sheltered. So this bit's actually going to be alright. It's not just grasslands. And then we'll have... I'm okay with this bit being forested. I think that's fine. And then I think I want this to be swampy. The trees have managed to survive there. And then those hills are going to be grassy hills. Kind of suggests that there's a river flowing through here. The equator is probably, like if we're looking at the map here, the equator is probably about here. Like we are now getting into the Mediterranean. This would be Iberia. No, this is probably still a bit north for Iberia. It's more northern Italy, northern Spain, Greece. I think Greece really is the closest analogy for this. So I think that maybe the swamp here is a bit too big. Let's add a layer of grassland in here. And actually in the middle of all of this, there's some alright land, which is why this is probably inhabited. Yeah, I like this more. Alright, so what I'm going to do is we're going to put a river line preset. It'll be stream up to probably that first lake. So it's not navigable for this bit, and then it does become navigable. And I'm thinking that this river effectively flows straight down the center of this and into you. And then across, oops, here. And down into here. And from here, through this, and out. Except that we did say that these last 3 sections are going to be navigable, so we'll select you, we'll turn you into a river. We won't do that. Ugh, damn. Easily fixed. And you. You. River. Wait, how big is a river normally? Is it 40? Yes. I'm not updating for some reason. So these bits are navigable, and then we have the stream which basically flows into all of that. And this is just ocean flooded, it's not fed by this. So I'm actually kind of thinking that the rivers from this side I kind of want the mountains to go out a bit further. Out into here. And we're going to make this grassy hills. And the reason for that is I want these mountains to effectively be partially worn away because of the wear of the river there. So these mountains are going to go right up to the ocean. Except this would be a bit worn down, so let's make some of this hills. And then I want a river. Coming out like that, so this probably will be somewhat swampy. And I think I want another higher area in here. I think this might actually be part of the highest range. Part of what's effectively a hotspot. And then we want this. I think this should be forested. So let's go with Mountain Forest. Don't like that bit at all. There we go, fixed. We're going to put some heavy forest in here. And I think I want to have some more. Let's go with regular hills. Just to keep this area raised. And then we just have a big old forest in this whole section, which this river flows through. And that is going to be part of the largest river section for this anyway, which is going to flow either through here or straight down, or maybe around the edge. No, because that's going too far that way. That doesn't look very natural to me. That feels a bit better. Maybe it just comes around here. You know what? Actually, I prefer that. Let's go out the north. But then why doesn't it just go down here? That's the question. I think what I kind of want to do here is make these grassy hills. And it's basically just in the way. And then this is a... I might even just get rid of this. It doesn't do anything for me. Let's just get rid of that. Yeah, so we have this area of lowland. And I think we basically just put the hills going straight across. Something like that. Yeah, this would be an important port. For sure. Which is why there's probably a rivalry between the city that's inevitably going to be here and then one here. Northern Jutout feels like it would be better as an island. This one? Yeah, I can live with that. Yeah, these probably should be grassy hills. You're not wrong. Especially in the middle bit, I would say. Because this is not a bad area. So the stuff that's closer to the mountains, just because of how big they are, it's going to be drier. But then the bits outside of it can be grassy. Another layer. Yeah, I like that more. That's good. And the nice thing about this is it basically blocks off passage out that way or that way. I don't like that it goes that far north. Let's have like grassy. There we go. Nice whale island. Actually, you're not wrong. I was kind of thinking, this is clearly going to be a shape of something, and then we'll just name it after that shape. Whale Island. We could even call it Wales. That land connection is screaming for a canal. So at the start date, which I'm going to say is 1444 just because it's a nice date to start this type of thing, there is going to be a canal there. But that's going to be a later addition. That's going to be like right close to the start date. And it's going to be one of the kind of big geopolitical changes that's going to turn this into much more important than like the ports down here. Or also kind of cutting off the dwarves. Because instead of trade going north and then down through here, it can then go south and then across. Alright, so I don't like this bit so much. I think that should just be grassy hills. With a volcano at one end. Maybe a couple of mountains. And you know what? I'm going to make that little bit in the middle marshy. There's marsh. Marsh, marsh, marsh. This little section here. Marsh with some swamp. So get closer to the trees. And then I also think, honestly, but that's probably marshy. With some pretty killer land around the edges. And then we're going to put a grassy hill right there. Make you into swamp. So it's just the one hill. That's probably where the city will be. Have to dredge the marshes to build the canal. Precisely. Funnily enough, it would probably be the halflings that actually do the engineering for that. Because it's the halflings who are the hydro experts because of their own homeland. Small boats can get through the marsh, maybe. That's kind of an interesting idea, actually, yeah. Now, I don't think that all of this should be quite so high quality. Let's make this grazing ground outside of the river. And the volcano. And I think that basically decides that this does need to be one tier lower. And we're going to say that this is actually quite rocky. So we're going to go with the poor grassland. In there. I think I'll put grazing. Oh, whoops. Damn. Here. And then I think I'm also going to put grazing here. Call the marsh area the Marshy Sea. I mean, when it comes to naming stuff, we'll get to that eventually. I am really happy that we got this peninsula sorted. That's bugged me for a while. And then the next area that we need to do is this. How are we doing for time? It's 2. Could go for a bit longer. So I think part of what I want to do here is honestly get rid of a lot of those hills. We definitely need to get rid of the marshy bits. I'm going to keep the hills here because I think that makes sense. And probably up here, but this middle section, no hills. I don't really like the mountains here either. Hills, yeah. Mountains, no. And there would honestly probably be grassy hills anyway. And let's go turn off the paint bucket and basically just connect all of this stuff up so it's a little bit more contiguous and rather less random. Not that big though. Let's go with Grazing Land here in the middle. Kind of wondering if I want to have... Rivers should definitely flow through this. I'm just not 100% sure where. Yeah, this desert would definitely extend downwards for sure. Although, as we get to the lowland, I still think that this would be fairly swampy. It would be poor grassland. And this would be probably somewhat similar to this. Because I do see this being like France. I do definitely see this being like France. I just don't really know what the geography of France is like. You know what? No, don't like this. I'm just going to turn this whole bit into grasslands. It's going to be a blank canvas for us to then play with. I can see there being forest in here. In fact, I think this would be even heavy forest leading down to the swamp. And those hills should reflect that. I think I'm going to put some hills in here and in here. Here, 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 here. I think those should be forest, not mountains. Grass areas like Ukraine and west maybe Poland, a steppe. It's not a steppe, the steppes are out here. This is a lot more fertile. But we could definitely have a river flowing through here. Where would it exit, though? Well, this is just wet because it's low-lying. It's not wet because it's fed by a river. Which would suggest the rivers would go there because it's low-lying. Unless we have hills around the edges. But I don't think it should be hilled off like this area was. Oh, speaking of which, there's still some land here that needs to be adjusted. What should that be? Yeah, it should probably just be forest. Let's just turn this area. No, not the whole thing. That should be Grazing Land. There we go. You know what? That can be grass. That's fine. Google a map of the terrain of France. Yeah, I should do that. First of all, though, I'm going to get rid of all of these freaking jungles. Jungles be gone! I mean, this probably should be forest. That would be the easiest thing to replace it with. I don't know why they annoy me so much, but they do. There ain't no jungles here. Could be swamp, sure, but jungles? There we go. I actually really like this now. The insula's turned out well. Alright, let's take a look at the topographical map of France. That's really unhelpful. Next! Stone corners. Well, I guess... No, just give me a freaking Google map. Terrain. There you go. Okay, so here is the map of France. I kind of wish I could turn all of the roads and things off. How do I do that? I also quite like the thing around Bordeaux. Might need to do something like that for the northern region. Alright, seriously, can I turn the roads off? Turn roads off. Google Maps. Settings. Navigation. Route settings. There's a settings button. I want on, don't I? Yes. Alright, so where does the Loire go to? Does it go to the Alps as I kind of anticipate it will? Yeah, it does. And goes all the way out there. Oh, the Rhone goes down here. Where does the Loire go? The Loire pretty much starts around here somewhere. Goes all the way out to here. And the Seine? That's still it? Nope. Oh, that's a canal. Yeah, of course. France actually has a bunch of canals. Looks like there's a bunch of wetness that comes from there. It just kind of starts, as far as I can tell, kind of in the middle of France. Just outside of Dijon. It's not in the mountains or anything. Unless Source Seine is not actually Source Seine, which I have a feeling it might not be. Oh, no. Yeah, that is it. Park owned by the city of Paris, which contains the source of the River Seine. You can go from the channel to the Med through the rivers and canals these days. Yes, you can. That's a trip I'd like to make one of these days. I think that would be kind of cool. So it's there. So the Loire you can trace almost to the Alps. I think actually most of the Alps drain into the Adriatic, which is why the Po River is such an important one. The Po Basin, one of the most fertile, well, the most fertile place in Italy, is this, which actually kind of feels a little bit in our setting like this. This would be the Po Basin for this area. So if rivers don't actually need to start in mountains, there's no reason that the river wouldn't just start like over here somewhere, then just flow this way or this way. So here's the thing, I feel like the reason this neck never shut is because there is some mountains coming through there, although from where? All of the mountain ranges go northeast to southwest. Unless there's a tectonic plate or something coming along here. I mean, it could be, because you got ocean out this way. So if the plate kind of goes down here and then around, which would suggest that there should perhaps be a mountain that goes through here. Maybe not as big as that one. Although that being said, a lot of this was also surface level. This is more glacial than tectonic. But it would kind of make sense if there was mountains here which kind of stopped the glaciers. Which I think actually makes more sense. So perhaps this kind of splits out a little bit, which is why there are some mountains going this way, where it's just older. Yeah, I agree with that. So I do feel like there should be a mountain range of some kind in here, which leads to this. And that should... actually... yeah, we'll keep that. That should just be marshy as all hell. Probably this whole area. Well, no, I actually kind of like that there's a little bit of high ground there. Let's do this. No, I don't like that. Let's just have a marsh going into there. And then we'll have some grassland. Splitting that off. This is what it used to look like. This is what it looks like now. Okay, so if we get the mountains... so we want to have some mountains that vaguely kind of go along here. And then water that comes from this end probably flows into this, which is why this is actually deep and this isn't. This is... oh, what's the word? Low-lying. Whereas the actual source of the river, the delta, goes into this. Which is why this might be a bit deeper. In fact, this is deeper. This is an old glacial lake. That bit. So yeah, I think we want mountain there. We want a soft chain of mountains there. And probably a small chain about there. And there. Then let's bring grassland back to... oops. You. And then that kind of gives us a very rough idea that the mountains come through here. And then hills in this bit. Which actually makes sense, because you can kind of see a mountain range going up that way. So yeah, that is a plate right there. Which is why this is so screwed up. Because it's on the junction of the two plates. Which is also why this is so high. Because that is the junction. So then we would have grassy hills either sides of it. Which would go out a bit more. We can fill it in with forests and things later. Okay, and then I think we can just have vague water coming down here, so there's going to be a pretty major river that goes in this bit. Fed by you, fed by you, fed by you. Possibly even fed by you. So then let's go ahead and draw that river, then we can do the rest of that around the river. And we'll start it out as streams. Which I'm going to say probably come down something like that. I think that's probably a pretty good basis for this. It is getting very late, so I think I'm going to call this stream here. So I do hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, be sure to hit that follow button to get notifications when I'm live again in the future. If you've really enjoyed this and you would like to support the stream, then please do consider subscribing, helps the channel out, or you can also check out my Patreon at patreon.com/MordredViking. I do have a YouTube channel, which you can find at youtube.com/MordredViking, and also a Discord, which you can find at the Discord link, which will be appearing in just a second. Oh, you beat me to it. Oh no, that was... Frederick, you beat me to it. So I'll be back again tomorrow, Thursday, with some Total War Warhammer at... Hang on, let me just make sure I got the times right. I'm pretty sure it's Warhammer first. Schedules. Thursday, Warhammer at 5 PM. That is going to be Slaanesh with Unkari, because embargo's up. We have access to the final of the Chaos factions, which is Slaanesh. And then at 10 o'clock, we're going to be playing some Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, because I've been very much enjoying the Bannerlord time. On Friday, we've got Crusader Kings 3 Royal Court, continuing the Norse-Dutch campaign at 5, and then after that at 10 for the Americans, we got some Total War Warhammer again. The next time we're planning to do world building is, of course, Wednesday, because it is World Building Wednesdays. Anyway, that's it for me for now, so thanks everyone for watching. I'm going to go and see if there is anybody live at the moment that I can go and raid. Huh. So Squires on Tabletop Simulator, playing what? Battle of Bunker Hill. Interesting. Let's go and raid Sir Squire. That actually kind of looks cool. So head on over there, say hello from Mordred Viking. I'd love to see his channel absolutely lit up by the Viking Raid, which you could do by copying and pasting Viking Raid, as it will appear in just a second. Okay, now I do need to be a bit careful because my notepad does have secret stuff. So I'm going to go to my break screen, so you can't see this. And then notepad. Viking Raid, just like that. Or if you're a subscriber, you can bring the longships like this. Anyway, that's all for me for now. Thanks everyone for watching. I will see you tomorrow for some Total War Warhammer and or some Bannerlord after that. Anyway, thanks everyone.